barriers, bridging gaps. Barriers. Diagnosis. Barriers to gaps. Okay, let's see. Barriers, bridging gaps. Breaking barriers and bridging gaps. Something very important this morning. It's in the nerves. It's a very important topic that we should discuss. Breaking barriers. Hello. Hello, Mama Lisa. How are you? You're welcome. Can you hear me? Good morning. Good morning, Ma. How are you today? Thank you for joining in. You've been live streaming. Yes. That's interesting. And the live streaming I observed has been catching a lot of attention. Okay, I'm happy to know that you are doing well. Okay, the other day I thought you were talking about having some challenges with your health. Okay, but it seems you were referring to Achiro Osvalda. I believe she's much better now. Oh, okay. I'm happy that you are well. Okay, your husband closed the laptop by accident, so you had to start over. Okay, but I hope the initial one was saved. Welcome everyone joining in. It's a very good morning from this side. Stop eating cats and dogs. Jason Blue, what's that about? Is that right? Can you let me know? Okay, you can hear me clearly. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa, for the feedback. Thank you, everyone joining in. This is Dr. Soyemi live on YouTube, live streaming. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa, for being a good moderator there. I can see that. Okay, so it's not about cats and dogs. It's not about words that are not pleasant to see or to hear. It's about our health this morning. This Jason Blue now needs to be, I don't know what he's trying to do, but Jason Blue, we're talking health, wellness, and lifestyle. Okay. Now we're not talking gay. Okay. We are talking health, wellness, and lifestyle. And according to the World Health Organization, I like that definition very well. So much that I will say it over and over again because it's the fact that health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Okay, so our health comprises of our physical, our mental, and social aspect of our lives, and even the spiritual. Okay, so in talking about being a whole person, you need to note that this is very important. Now you keep this in mind, that you are not just thinking health is just about how you feel, even though the feelings are important and they may be as a result of what is going on uh, up there in the brain, and even the social environment has so much influence on an individual's health. So I believe that is well taken. Doing this time to increase our awareness of diabetes. We're talking about diabetes mellitus. This is World Diabetes Day, and it's 14th of November, this 2024. And we need to talk about this because this is a very common chronic medical disorder, and it's like popular hypertension. Diabetes and hypertension are like twins, okay? They love to go together. So that's why an individual with hypertension or diabetes, if an individual has hypertension, there's a tendency, there's a risk of developing diabetes, and vice versa. Interestingly, there is a third one, which makes them like triplets. That's talking about obesity. That's with these three, we talk about metabolic syndrome. That's a constellation of these different diagnoses, and the hypertension, diabetes, and obesity. They are actually metabolic disorders. Not only metabolic disorders, there are other causes. So we need to talk about diabetes today. And let me know in the comment section what you think, what you know about diabetes. Like I said, today is World Diabetes Day, 14th day of November. Okay, so I need to use my backup now. Yeah, let me know if you can still see me. I need to boost the lighting. All right, so okay, am I still audible? Okay, can you hear me now? And hope the video is fine. Connection is not. Okay, can we check again? What about now? What about now? Is it better? The video and the audio? Let me know how it is now. Okay. Is it better? Is the audio better now? And is the video okay? Just let me know if you can hear me. Is the audio good? About the video? Lisa, how is it now? Okay, I can see your posts, Lisa. Yes, you've been typing. Now, the goal this year's Diabetes Day is to inspire individuals, families, and communities to support each other in managing this condition and to advocate for equal healthcare access, especially in underserved communities. Wow, thank you, Lisa, for this. So true. Thank you. Thank you. Lisa, are you in the health sector or you just aware you have some information about this World Diabetes Day? The goal on this year's World Diabetes Day is to inspire individuals, families, okay, welcome back, Lisa, and communities to support. I'm just reading your post on the goal for this year's World Diabetes Day. I mean, today, 14th of November, the goal, Lisa says, the goal is to inspire individuals, families, and communities to support each other in managing this condition and to advocate for equal healthcare access, especially underserved communities. So true, Lisa. Thank you for that. You know, some team says diabetes and well-being, and well-being talks about describe the whole person, talking about wholeness, talking about the sense or feeling of being healthy. Okay, so it encompasses different aspects of an individual's life. Okay, so it's about how an individual is enjoying his or her life. Okay, is able to do the things that they want to do, that individual is able to be as productive as they would actually want to be and then enjoy life as they would want to enjoy. Now, this day's theme talks about breaking barriers and bridging gaps. Okay, yes, there are a lot of barriers when it comes to management, even diagnosis of certain medical conditions. I mean, just like Lisa has mentioned, there are communities where there are challenges with accessing healthcare services. Whether you talk about, I'm going to mention some of those challenges, but this puts a burden or some limitations on how individuals can receive the necessary care and to have a more healthy individual, healthy families, healthy communities, and even talking about a nation being healthy and productive. Now, a nation cannot be productive when most of its workforce are suffering from medical conditions. Okay, or even those that already have these chronic medical conditions that are not being managed, well managed. Okay, so talking about breaking barriers, there are a lot of barriers to management, even diagnosis of diabetes. So that's what is being looked at this time. So what exactly is diabetes? Like I mentioned earlier in the introduction, it is one of the most common chronic medical disorders, and it is just like I mentioned, related to hypertension, also related to obesity. Kindly let me know if you can hear me in the chat box. Just drop a comment, please. And remember to double tap on your screen to like this session. We're talking about diabetes on this World Diabetes Day. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you so much. Okay, so millions of people are actually affected by diabetes, and it's no respecter of persons in terms of status, whether rich or poor or average. The economy really does not have all the say or the effect on whether a person develops diabetes or not. Okay, even though there are risk factors for developing diabetes. Okay, so it is not just a metabolic disorder, it's a disorder that is related not just to carbohydrate metabolism, also fat metabolism, and then use of protein. So really, it's basically abnormal levels, high levels of blood sugar. Now, the blood sugar has normal range where the body is able to function, the cells are able to function well, humans are able to have the necessary energy in terms of glucose to function in life. So we talk about the energy that is needed or required to do things in life. So that's why if a person suffers from what we call hypoglycemia, low levels of blood sugar, the individual may begin to have some symptoms. And those symptoms may even go beyond that and then lead to death. The person may go into a coma and death. So there's a need for sugar in the blood. There is definitely a need, but it is the abnormal levels, high levels, that now determines whether a person has diabetes or not. There are different types of diabetes. So talking about type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and even what we call gestational diabetes. Type 1 diabetes talks about is more like the body fighting itself, talking about autoimmune, an autoimmune condition where the body is generating some cells or some soldiers that are fighting the pancreas that are supposed to produce insulin to take care of the level of sugar. So what happens is that sugar is in the blood, but the insulin in the body actually, as the hormone, helps to take and deliver the glucose into the different parts of the body for use. Okay, so but once the body is not able to produce this insulin, there are high levels, the sugar level increases and is not controlled. So an individual can have type 1 diabetes. Then type 2 diabetes, basically for type 1, genetic, environmental. For type 2, it could also be genetic, but there are other factors like lifestyle factors that may put an individual at risk of developing type 2 diabetes, which is very common, especially in adulthood, even though we are finding out that even younger adults are developing diabetes. And this is because there are a number of changes, social factors, environmental factors, lifestyle, dietary factors, consumption. Just like I said, it's not just about consumption of starch or starchy meals or food. It's about how much of fat an individual also consumes, how much of salt an individual also consumes. Once these levels are beyond what the body can handle, the body may be triggered into developing diabetes and type 2. Okay, so obesity is a risk factor for developing type 2 diabetes. Okay, of course, there's the family history. There's a possibility of an individual developing diabetes because it existed or it exists in previous generations. Okay, so now coupled with the dietary factor, coupled with the other lifestyle factors, physical inactivity puts an individual at risk of developing type 2 diabetes. So not engaging in physical activities enough, not exercising, living a sedentary lifestyle. These are risk factors for developing type 2 diabetes. And let's talk about gestational diabetes. That's about people or a woman actually developing diabetes during pregnancy. Okay, for some people, maybe they have pre-existing diabetes and then getting pregnant. Some people actually have diabetes being diagnosed in pregnancy or during the antenatal care. And there are definitely risk factors and then risk related or associated with having diabetes in pregnancy. So there are management protocols for individuals, women who have diabetes in pregnancy. Let me know in the chat box if you're following and you can still hear me clearly. If you're just joining in, it's World Diabetes Day. It's 14th day of November 2024, and we are talking about diabetes and well-being, talking about breaking barriers and bridging gaps. Okay, so what are the symptoms of diabetes? Okay, usually commonly excessive passage of urine, large amounts production of urine, that's we call polyuria, excessive thirst, feeling thirsty unusually, and individual taking increasing water intake. So we call it polydipsia, and excessive intake of food, also consumption, high level of consumption of meals beyond the normal. For an individual, for example, that eats maybe 3 times a day, you just find out that the person is increasing, having increasing appetite, and then consuming a lot of foods more than their normal consumption level. So it is important to note this. When an individual begins to have these symptoms, even though there are some other conditions like urinary tract infection, which is common in people with diabetes, may also present in a similar way. Okay, so that's why it's important to consult with your doctor to actually get the diagnosis. Okay, so what happens is that apart from this clinical, these symptoms, when you present to your doctor will definitely take a history and do the history definitely will include asking questions related to the symptoms I've mentioned, and then if there is a family history which will be asked of diabetes because of the genetic component, and then other related questions. We include that aspect of lifestyle. The individual is living more of a sedentary lifestyle, then there's a tendency. And there are other comorbidities, like I mentioned. An individual who has hypertension has a risk of developing diabetes. Also, high levels of cholesterol, talking about dyslipidemia, another factor that puts an individual at risk of developing diabetes. So it's majorly an abnormality, a metabolic disorder, and when this happens, can manifest in that manner. Okay, so what the doctor will do, your doctor will definitely conduct an examination, proper general examination and specific examinations. Interestingly, there are some complications that may arise from late detection of or diagnosis of diabetes. And with this, the doctor may definitely want to request for some investigations to actually confirm the diagnosis, and then to find out if there are complications that have actually set in. Okay, so if the individual is being considered to have diabetes mellitus, the the necessary tests will include doing a blood sugar check. It may be a random blood sugar, but preferably a fasting blood sugar, which has a cutoff, usually around 126 milligrams per DL. So if an individual has levels higher than that, then they can be said to have diabetes mellitus type 2. And then for random blood sugar greater than 200 milligrams per DL, the individual may be diagnosed of type 2 diabetes. Okay, there's also what we call the HbA1c, which helps to identify if an individual has had a good control of their blood sugar over at least 3 months. Okay, so it is important to note all this. So talking about breaking barriers, there are a lot of barriers. For example, barriers in information, receiving information. There are places where people don't have access to, talking about internet connection, like you are having this live session. Some people are not able to access it. Talking about internet, talking about power supply. There are some regions that still have serious challenges, all over the world. There are places that have challenges with power supply, adequate power supply. So they are not able to connect with the world and the information that is available. Okay, so those are some of the barriers. Some may even include barriers relating to myths. There are some beliefs. There are some places where there are some traditions, there are some beliefs, there are false beliefs that people with certain symptoms are said to actually have a certain condition. Maybe like identifying them for some traditional purposes and all that. But really, where there is acceptance and availability of information, then such beliefs or false beliefs can be dealt with, and people can seek proper medical care. Now, other aspects include structures. There are places where there are challenges with health structures. There are places where there is poor funding. I'm talking about budgets for healthcare. There are nations where I won't be mentioning places, but you can check out and find out that there are places where there is low budgets for healthcare, and this in a way affects how people are able to access the services that they need and be able to deal with such conditions like diabetes. Okay, so these are some of the barriers, talking about individual, talking about families, talking about communities, and even nations, the barriers that are there. Another one is transport challenges with transportation. There are regions where people, especially in the rural areas, that do not have access, good roads to access places where they can get proper health care services. For, like I said, for making a diagnosis, interestingly, it may be simple because now there are kits that can be used to make these diagnoses easily. So people don't necessarily have to travel distances to access care. Once these materials are available and the right people that are trained can actually offer these services as close to the location of these people as much as possible. Okay, so those are some of the barriers. Now, there may also be barrier of accessing the right, like I mentioned, talking about people that are trained. There are places where there are few trained healthcare professionals that can help people to get the proper diagnosis and then the treatment for diabetes. So what about gaps? Bridging gaps. That means we need to deal with, for example, knowledge gaps. There is a lot of gaps in knowledge. People don't know what diabetes actually means, and there is a need to spread information, and that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this, so that more people can get to know what diabetes really is. And some people don't even know whether there's anything called diabetes. Okay, some people know about hypertension. People should know about diabetes. You may know, but there are some people in places that don't know, even though they may have people around them. Even they themselves may have symptoms that are suggestive of that condition. Okay, so there has to be a bridge in the knowledge gaps and other gaps, that have been mentioned, whether knowledge gap for individuals, even for the healthcare professionals. There's a need for training, retraining, and updates, and these are readily available updates on management of diabetes. Okay, so that is it. I want you to share in the comments, in the chat box, in the comments, what experiences do you have talking about diabetes mellitus? Just share with us. Now, Lisa says the goal this year, this Diabetes Day, is to inspire individuals, families, and communities to support each other in managing this condition. And that is very important. Support. We need to be able to identify people within families, communities, who are actually who are patients diagnosed of diabetes. They will definitely need support. Support, whether in terms of finances, support, whether in terms of transportation, support, whether in terms of monitoring, and we need to be there for them. Interestingly, there are a number of people who have some challenges, talking about emotional, mental health challenges that are related to that diagnosis. In the first place, people are wondering, how do they handle the diagnosis? I mean, the fact that they're having symptoms, or they were having symptoms, they've been having symptoms, and then this diagnosis is coming up. So it may first of all serve come like a shock to some, and then they begin to think of how to handle it. Some people may get depressed. Some people definitely will get anxious, especially where there is a gap, or there are gaps in information. Okay, so but when the knowledge information is passed appropriately, then they may be able to relate and do the needful. Okay, so such people need support, whether you talk about family support, community support, and even talking about non-governmental organizations supporting people. So how do we support? Apart from funding is important. When we talk about funding in terms of health institutions, talking about creating centers that may even be dedicated to the management of patients or individuals with this medical condition. And this is going to help a lot of communities and nations, even families. Like I said earlier, a nation can only be as productive as its workforce. If a nation has a healthy workforce, then you can be sure that that nation is going to be a great nation. But if the population, majority of people in that nation are sickly, and they have challenges in maintaining their health, then that nation will be less productive. So it will affect the economy. So governments, people need to know that once this is being done, is being taken care of, like other medical conditions, hypertension. There was a lot of advocacy for HIV/AIDS, talking about malaria and all these other medical conditions. But if there's an increased support for people with diabetes, then we can be sure that we'll be dealing with this in a great way. So this is a call, it's advocacy for nations, for governments, governmental organizations, even non-governmental organizations to rise to the occasion. You're welcome, Bertway. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for joining in. Yes, true. Yes, Bertway says, yes, true. Yes. Thumbs up. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining in. Remember to double tap on your screen. Thank you for clicking on the like. And then let's know your thoughts. I want to really share with us what you think, what you know about diabetes. Do you have a family member who is diagnosed, who is being managed for this condition? Are they able to handle this? Okay. So, or if you have any question relating to this topic, we're talking about World Diabetes Day, November 14, it's 2024, talking about diabetes and well-being, talking about breaking barriers and bridging bridging gaps. Okay, so that's what I've been talking about. We've been talking about. Bertway says, okay, thanks. You're welcome, Bertway. Thank you for joining. It's been a while. Good to see you here again. Now, it's locally called sugar. Yes, sugar. Yes, that's it. We call it blood sugar. I did some introduction and talked about how it's important to have some levels of sugar in the blood, and that's important for the functioning of the human body. But once these sugar levels are above the normal, then you can be sure that the individual, there are different parts of the body that can be affected. So that's talking about complications now. Apart from the symptoms that I mentioned earlier, an individual can develop some complications from high levels of sugar, blood sugar that is not being managed properly. Now, talking about the effects on the brain. If an individual can develop a coma, yes, can go into coma because of high levels of sugar. Individual can even begin to have some vision challenges with vision. For example, is a risk factor for developing cataracts, even glaucoma. So it's important, to note this. The complications are there and they could be devastating. So it's important to note that it could also affect the kidneys. There's something we call diabetic nephropathy. It could lead to chronic kidney disease, and that is another complication. It can also affect the heart. It can lead to cardiomyopathies, and it can also affect the nerves, such that some people complain about paresthesia. They're not able to feel well in some parts of their limbs and all that. So it's because the high level of glucose in the blood, and then this is coating the nerves. So the nerves are not able to receive or pass messages across well enough. So individual has some abnormal sensations. Okay, and there is also a risk of developing what we call diabetic foot. When an individual, because of that loss of feeling, if they get a wound or they get a puncture in their foot, for example, without recognizing this, the individual may have a wound that just begins to grow and gets wide, and before they realize, becomes complicated. And so it's a cause of poor wound healing. So that's why if anyone has a wound that is not healing well, apart from maybe sickle cell anemia, there are some other conditions even hypertension that can cause poor wound healing. Diabetes mellitus is one of the causes of poor wound healing. So we need to have high blood sugar in control. Okay, so it's called locally called sugar. Now, a lot of people, there are questions and there are gaps in knowledge when it comes to sugar. So it's not just about the table sugar, granulated sugar, that people talk about, even though that's part of it. But we're talking about your diet. If you consume diet that is high in carbohydrates majorly, then there's a risk of developing diabetes. So that's why, importantly, your diet must be a healthy one. Healthy diet. Talking about healthy plates, for example, must have vegetables and fruits. Now we're talking about prevention and even management of diabetes. Yes, prevention and even management. Whether you are a healthy individual without any form of disease or medical condition, you should practice this. And then for those who are diabetic, there are recommendations. So that's where in the management of diabetes, different specialists come in. As a family physician, we handle this. We have your endocrinologist. We have the physiotherapists, depending on the need. We also have dietitian or nutritionist who should be involved. Okay, and we have psychologists, clinical psychologists, who are also there to help to counsel patients or individuals who have challenges, their mental health challenges that may result from having that condition. Okay, so a lot of people think about, so that means they have to be on medications for life. Some people think about the cost, and these days, these medications are very expensive, talking about the economy. So prevention is better, is even cheaper than cure. It's better and cheaper than cure. Thank you for joining in. Okay. Birthday says, amazing. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you so much. Lizmo Official. Yes, like. Thank you for liking. You're welcome to this session. Welcome to this live. How are you doing? And how is work and family? And Lizmo Official is saying, Birthway, I to you, Birthway. I. So I was talking about the management of type 2 diabetes. Of course, as part of the management, after making the diagnosis, the individual will require, apart from the blood sugar test, requires some other tests to also rule out complications. Okay, before we continue with the prevention and management. Now, other tests that an individual with or suspected to have diabetes will include a kidney function test. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the kidney may also have some complications, like chronic kidney disease may develop from an individual who has poorly managed blood sugar. Okay, so it's good to have a kidney function test to check whether the kidneys are functioning normally, and this will also guide in the choice of medications for such individuals. Okay, because of the risk of developing hypertension alongside an ECG, checking the electrical activity of the heart. Some people require an echo, scanning of the heart. Some people require liver function test. because there are some liver conditions that can also predispose an individuals to abnormalities in the levels of blood sugar. Okay, and then some people may also have abdominal pelvic ultrasound scan, abdominal scan to check other organs in the body, in the abdomen specifically. And then lipid profile is another one where the levels of cholesterol will be checked, whether the bad cholesterol, the good cholesterol, and then other aspects, triglycerides. So these are some of the investigations, even urinalysis. Urine, because individuals with diabetes mellitus are at risk of developing even recurrent urinary tract infection, especially if the blood sugar is not well controlled. So urine analysis will help to identify whether there's, of course, glucose coming out in the urine. That means the kidneys are not able to filter appropriately, and then whether there's a sign of infection, which will be seen from the urinalysis, and then a culture may be done to identify the specific organism responsible for the infection. So those are some of the tests that an individual with type 2 diabetes may be required to do. And if for some people who have a wound in any part of the body, so they may require maybe taking a sample, there's a discharge, may also require an X-ray radiograph study of the parts that's been affected, especially the foot. Thank you. Lismo official is like, okay, thank you. Birthway say, Lismo saying hi to Birthway. Thank you. Thank you for subscribing and liking. Okay, so let's move on to the aspect of prevention and management. So I was talking about dietary approach. You know, there's something we call dietary approach to stopping hypertension, but there is also a dietary approach to management of diabetes. So diet plays a major role. Now, I was talking about the need to ensure that your diet is filled with vegetables and fruits. And I've been seeing a lot of videos. Glossa Foodies is here, our food guru. You're welcome, Glossa Foodies. Hello, thank you for joining in. We're talking about diabetes, World Diabetes Day, today, November 14th, 2024. And the theme majorly, generally, is about diabetes and well-being. And then diabetes, breaking barriers and bridging gaps. So we've talked about, I've introduced, I've defined, and then talking about symptoms of diabetes. I've also talked about the diagnosis, making a diagnosis, and then the management is where we are now. We talked about the complications, because individuals with diabetes are at risk of certain complications, even including a stroke, and then risk of hypertension, dyslipidemia, and other complications. Glossa Foodies is saying hi to everyone. Thank you, Glossa Foodies. Thank you. Okay, so, hey, Rajesh Spicy. Thank you for joining in. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, joining in. It's a very good morning from this side, 14th November 2024. I'm doing well. Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for your support always. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for the likes. I can see 7 likes already. And then we can have more. Thank you for joining in. And for those that are just joining in this live for the first time, this is Health, Wellness, and Lifestyle channel. We've been talking about diabetes, and today is World Diabetes Day. It's a very common chronic medical condition, just like hypertension, and there is likely to be an exponential increase in the numbers, talking about millions of people that are being affected by this medical condition. And it's understandable. Apart from the genetic factor, there is the lifestyle factor, there is the dietary factor. Okay, so Lismo official is saying, Glossa Foodies, hello to you. Hello, thank you, Lismo official. The facts is that there is a lot of sedentary lifestyle now. Now, the cigarette smoking was the issue then, but now it's sedentary lifestyle. So it's like a smoker. Whoever is living that sedentary lifestyle is like a smoker right now. So we need to be sure that we are not inactive. So we've talked about diet, how you need to have a balanced diet. And then we also need to, now talking about diet, I need to mention that it's very important. That's why some, I mean, as a doctor, I will definitely refer a patient to see a nutritionist or dietitian so that they can help guide. And this is very important because some people also have to deal with their weight, their body mass index, having a weight that is more than their height. So if a person is obese, coupled with the fact that they are diabetic, there's going to be an individualized or personalized management of such individuals. Okay, so it's important to note that. So your dietitian will be very relevant in the management of diabetes. Okay, so apart from diet, we talk about the need for activity. You know, it's good to be engaged in physical activity. Most people are, but majorly not exercising is just a part of activity. Not exercising puts an individual at risk, not just of becoming overweight or obese, but of developing type 2 diabetes. And think about it, when people are sedentary, most of the time there's a tendency to consume fast foods, junk foods, soda, drinks, and a whole lot. And there's that feeling sometimes of low energy levels that will make an individual want to consume, depending on your location, depending on your region. People consume a lot of starchy meals. And then this puts them at risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Glossa Foodie is saying hi to Lismo. Okay, thank you all for staying tuned. Other ways, I need to emphasize the aspect of exercise. Okay, you don't necessarily have to wait till you register at the gym before you can start exercising. You can exercise even within your environment, within your community, within your region. Now that is to say that even brisk walking, that's what is recommended. Basically, about 30 minutes of brisk walking. Brisk walking simply means that you are walking a bit faster, at a faster pace compared to the normal walking. Okay, so brisk walking is very essential as part of healthy living. Okay, brisk walking is not just for those who are diabetic, just as a part of living that healthy lifestyle. Now, for me now, I've been thinking that I think I've dropped in my level of involvement in exercising. My performance of my exercises have dropped, so I need to get back. I need to get back to it. So, whether you talk about skipping, using the skipping rope, talking about chair exercises, stretching, and all that. Now, Nita Space is here. Thank you, Nita. Good morning, everyone. Nita is saying good morning to everyone. I'm saying good morning to Doctor. Good morning, Nita. Thank you so much for joining in. I appreciate you. How are you doing? How is work? And how is your family? And she's saying hi to Glossa Foodies. Nita is saying hi to you. Okay. So, if you are yet to double tap on your screen, kindly do so. Nita, we've been talking about World Diabetes Day and the need to break barriers for individuals. I mean, generally, all over the world, talking about information dissemination. We need to break barriers to people receiving, for people receiving information, and then barriers to accessing healthcare, barriers to making a diagnosis of diabetes. So that means there's a need for increased support from individuals, philanthropists, non-governmental organizations, and governments, nations, leaders need to rise to the occasion, because the risk is increasing, and is likely to, the numbers are likely to be in exponential form, where more people in the coming decades are likely to develop type 2 diabetes. Okay, so there's a very important aspect of breaking barriers, and then bridging gaps in knowledge, whether from healthcare providers to the individuals, the population that people have to relate with, and then gaps in knowledge for even the medical professionals. People need to be trained, for example, basically in making a diagnosis of how to make a diagnosis of type 2 diabetes, and what to do when that diagnosis is being made. Okay, so there's a need for continuing communication on this. So as an advocate, I'm calling on individuals, families, communities, nations to rise to this occasion. And we can do it. We can serve as help to many. Now, do you know that, like I mentioned, there are a lot of people that are having some anxiety disorders, having depression, and people may even be having some panic attacks, because of their experience with this condition. Talking about diabetes. Okay, so there's a need to stand up and help people out there. If you are a foodie, for example, I mean, if you specialize in nutrition, then you have a big role to play in helping people to take better decisions regarding their diet. Okay, Dino. Okay, I can see. Okay, Glossa for this responded to Nita saying hi, Nita. And then Lismo official says good morning, Nita. And Dino Kathleen saying good morning. Good morning, Dino. You're welcome to this live session. And Nita says good morning, Lismo, and then good morning, Glossa. Good morning, Dino. Thank you for the greetings. Thank you all. And remember to double tap on your screen if you are yet to do so. Thank you. Some people are actually waiting for this channel to become monetized, qualified after about 3 years of uploading videos on YouTube. I mean, it's going to be interesting to get monetized. It's good. So let's subscribe. Let's keep watching. Let's keep sharing. Drop your comments, your questions, and I'm sure that I will definitely be responding to your messages. Now, we'll be rounding up soon. So the call is for you and I to not just care about ourselves, but to help others to know what diabetes is all about, and to see how we can come in to break the barriers, whether in our own community, in our own environment, in our families. There are people that have certain beliefs. Some people don't believe in medications, and there really is nothing wrong about that, but they need to be sure, do they have a better option to taking medications? Of course, the lifestyle is there, the dietary aspect is there, but in some regions, there's a lot of confusion in terms of all kinds of concoctions that are being made available for people to consume, and this can affect people's body organs and worsen the condition that they are trying to manage. So people should seek appropriate medical attention. The right diagnosis can be made. Interestingly, some people may think they're having diabetes, and by the time they get access to proper evaluation, they may find out that it's actually something else. As I mentioned, some people may have symptoms of urinary tract infection that's mimicking type 2 diabetes. Okay, I need to mention that one of the symptoms may also be weight loss. People may find out that they are losing weight, especially in type 1. So if this one symptom that an individual can identify, or any of those other symptoms that I mentioned, they should present to the hospital. So you need to encourage someone out there that you may know that may be having these symptoms to present appropriately. Let there be a break in the barrier. Let there be a breach in the gap. Okay. Thank you, Nita, saying yes, yes, so you will definitely get monetized. Yes, looking forward to that. Yeah, I need to start getting some feedback from YouTube. I think the YouTube company, not just the algorithm, are actually becoming more committed. Do I say that? Yes, more committed to promoting this channel. I mean, especially the fact that I think more people are finding the channel more helpful. They are finding it informative and a lot of feedbacks. And I will be sharing some experiences again soon. Some experiences, some feedbacks that I've had from being on YouTube and I'm practicing as a medical doctor. Thank you, Nita. So we're going to celebrate soon the monetization. Okay, so just remember that you can share this video. I'll make it available for the public after this session, so that others that could not join in live can watch. They'll be able to watch this. And then as we celebrate today, I'm sure you will find information online, more information around you. Just be sure to participate, do your part, and spread the word on the need to break barriers and bridge gaps in the management of type 2 diabetes. We're going to round up here now. We're going to stop here now, and then we'll catch up again soon. Have you watched my video on, how to achieve blood pressure control? That's very important. You need to check that video out, watch it, and you may need to share with someone. Hypertension is, like I said, like a twin to diabetes. And for the triplets, hypertension, diabetes, and obesity, they're like triplets. So we need to pay more attention to prevention. And for those that have this diagnosis, they should be able to receive proper management for this condition. Okay. Thank you, Nita. You say you watch it. Thank you. You need to watch. Then there's this video on how to increase your libido. That's talking about sex drive. For couples, this is an important video. There are fruits that you can take to improve your sex drive. And that's part of our sexual health, which is an important aspect of our overall health. Okay, you may have individuals or couples that will benefit from that video also. You know, when people come to the hospital, they have some complaints, but there are a number of times that you find people mentioning this, and it's more common in men than women. I'm not sure whether it's because of the way definitely women have been created, or just the fact that some may not be as comfortable talking about this, but men find it easy to talk about the need to perform better in their sexual relationships. So you need to watch that video too. It's about 16,000, getting close to 17,000 views. I think the video was just uploaded about 8 or 9 days ago. So that means the YouTube algorithm is finding people that actually need this information and giving it to them. So you can watch and share with others. So I want to appreciate you once again. we're going to catch up again soon. I'll be uploading another video very soon, before the end of this week, and then watch out for that. Thank you. We catch up on our live sessions. We catch up on our in our communities. Okay. Let me read this message from Dino. He said, you are sure? Okay, I'm sure you will get monetized, but at the same time, I feel like the work you are doing there is beyond any material wealth. You are very right, Dino. Very correct. So true. So that's why I never stopped. I mean, 3 years. It was not so much about okay, going to get monetized. I mean, a lot goes into sitting to shoot, setting up, editing videos, and still doing clinical work, doing public speaking, and a whole lot that I'm engaged or involved in, apart from obligations, family commitments, and personal projects. So it's a whole lot of commitments on my part, and the passion is, I mean, God has put that passion there, and I just keep going. Okay, so thank you for that, Dino. You work, of course, as I mentioned, there's a whole lot that goes into making this possible. Okay, so thank God for the YouTube company, and then giving that platform for us to function. Okay, so but to be able to also do more, to reach out to more people, there's a need to, I mean, the fund aspect is very important also. So definitely I'm not going to stop doing what God has given me the grace to do. Okay, so what gladdens my heart is to see a healthy community, healthy individuals, healthy nations. Okay, so I'll keep doing my part. Thank you so much. Thank you for that. Dave, just joining us. We're rounding up soon, Dave. Thank you for joining in anyway, and I'm sure you can watch. The video of this session as soon as I make it available for the public. We've had about an hour plus of discussion on diabetes, and today is World Diabetes Day, and we've talked a lot about what diabetes is, the symptoms, the diagnosis, how diagnosis is made, the complications, and how to prevent and manage diabetes mellitus. So Dave says double tap, guys, double tap kindly for our own brother. Thank you, Dave, for being a wonderful supporter of this channel, of even my person. Thank you for always being there, showing up, watching the videos, dropping your comments. Now this gladdens my heart and encourages me to do more. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, Dave says the key is passion. Key is passion. Yes, thank you. Passion must just be there. Okay, so when it's even not very convenient, and it's not convenient, you say come to talk and then share some knowledge with people out there. Okay, and then we're encouraging one another, we're supporting one another. I can see a number of YouTubers here, a number of us also creating content. Okay, so we keep connecting with one another, we keep showing up, we keep dropping our comments, we keep building up the community. So Dave, thank you for taking notes, and you mentioned time difference. Yes, you are right. Your location is different, and so the time. Okay, we'll see how much we can catch up again later. Obviously, I'll watch after this, bro. Okay, thank you. You're going to watch. Thank you so much. So, people that voted say they have subscribed and they liked. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So, bye for now. See you. Have a great day. Have a pleasant evening, depending on your location at this time. Bye for now. Bye, Dave. Thank you. Bye, Nita. Dino, thank you. Lismo Official, Glossa Foodies, everyone joined in. Rajesh Spicy and Birthway. Lisa was here, first to be here. Thank you, Lisa. See you. soon.